Hi everybody, I hope you're well. So this video was requested by Chloe Mills and also by StarDust Stables. So StarDust Stables wanted to know if I was working with the wandering horses that I get from the promo each day, would it be worth what I then initially put in to get them? I thought this was a good question. Now, if I look at the test server, whenever I did this wandering horse promo and I got all 16 of those horses, I spent around 193, 197 of those fake passes that there was in that server. Now, I was doing it to try and get them all done in one video. And I think in general, it's probably not going to be worth it because you're only going to get to keep each of those wandering horses individually for 5 days, and then they're going to leave. And you're not getting to keep them on your account, so you're probably only going to get a couple of days worth of competitions out of them unless unless I go in, for example, and I start using a lot of agent points or whatever on Dynamite, for example, because he's the only one I've got on UK right now, and I put him in competitions and I put him in missions and so forth. It's unlikely I'm going to get a lot of money from doing that, so I think in general, it's not going to add up to equate to the amount of passes, for example, I use in the test server. I don't think it would ever touch it, even if I probably kept them forever. It probably would never be worth it. So that would be really my answer to that. Now, obviously, if you're managing to do this for a very, very small amount, maybe it will be worth it. If you've managed to save up the things that you needed. Now, I'm just going to have a quick look through all of these and discuss them a little bit. There's one thing I want to talk about just before we go into all of these. Now, this one here. This one you need to donate pollen to other wandering horses, and you get 0.3 points per bit of pollen donated. So therefore, you're going to need to give at least 334 pieces of pollen to other horses, okay? So you could just buy yellow pollen and get 100 pieces of yellow pollen and give it to this one instead. Now if you do that, that is going to take 40 passes, because you're getting, 25 for each of the 10, okay? So if you're doing that, that's 40 passes. There's probably a cheaper way of doing it. Now I know that there is 2 horses here that I can give blue pollen to out of all of these ones. And that is Death's Head, which I can give blue pollen to. And I think it is, no, it's not Popular Admiral. This one, Red Admiral. So there's 2 there that you can give blue pollen to. And the reason I'm mentioning blue pollen is blue pollen is the cheapest. You can get 120 pieces of blue pollen for 10 passes. Okay? So you could use 10 passes and then another 10 passes, for example, there, to give pollen to those 2 blue horses, okay? So that's going to be roughly 20 passes, okay? And that's going to give you some of the points towards that, but then you still got another bit to go. So I would say you're going to be best going for horses that have purple pollen requirements, because purple is the next cheapest. Obviously, if you're going to buy purple pollen or any pollen at all, wait to the end when you have done everything that you can possibly do and then validate them, because you're still going to get some pollen from UFOs and maybe you'll just get enough to kind of take you over that extra wee bit. Because I think it's quite a low amount to be getting for that. I do think it is very low, to be getting so little per piece. So at the moment I'm not going to use any of my pollen, there's just no point really. But I believe there's only the 2 horses that you can give blue to. So, Monarch removing wings, that one's not too bad. Obviously don't remove wings off horses you really don't want to be removing wings off of for that one. Blue Icarus, donate horses to I would be donating, horses that I'm not bothered with, or maybe just buy some cheap ones out of sales and just throw them in case you don't want to donate any of your own. Blue Manalice, a couple of people asked me about this one, so take part in competitions, and I'm getting 0.1 point per competition. The reason this is so high for me, well, it's so low, but it means I have to do such a high number of competitions, is because I have too many horses. That's the truth of it. If the less horses you have, the lower this will be, and the less competitions it's going to take you to do. So I think from previous one on horse promos, I believe if somebody had over 1,000 horses, then they got this 0.1 per competition participation, which is kind of rubbish, but it's doable. Now the Teal J, I have a question out there to anybody that has already used their Hyastas. Did anybody use their Hyastas with a fertility wand? And because they got twins, did they get only 12 points or did they get 24? That's what I'm wondering, because at the minute I know that I have 2 Hestius gifts, so I can do 4 unicorns, but I don't know if it's going to count as 12 or 24, and that's what I'm curious about with that one. I'm hoping that it's going to count the 2 foals as 2 separate foals, or I'm going to be a bit annoyed about that. Orange tip, donate items from the shop to your friends. That's a reasonably easy one. Death's Head, give apples to other players' horses 1 point. That's just a lot of apples. 100 apples to 100 different horses. That's just going to take a while to do. Swallowtail, this one I've been doing a little bit of. So stroke horses in the Safe Haven. I already did that one today. Red Admiral, this one I don't think is going to take me too much time to do because I'm already taking horses for rides usually. So that one I don't think will bother me too much because it'll be going up when I'm not really paying attention to it. For the Popular Admiral, when I did that in the test server, actually playing with 1 foal between 8 months and 1 year and 4 months did that for me, getting the 60 skills. So I don't expect that one to be too bad. I think 1 or 2 foals at the most are going to do that for me. This one I haven't unlocked it yet, but that's the one where you have to give mashes to horses, and that's a really easy enough one to get done with. Glasswing, obviously the login, that one's pretty straightforward, it just takes a little bit of time. Opening Hordes of Plenty, I'm not going to try to do this. The other thing that's annoying me is this unlock thing where you have to pay passes to unlock. I don't like that at all. But I'm not going to be trying to do this. I don't have the hops to do it, I don't have the passes to do it, I have to renew my VIP. The last thing I need to do is probably waste any time on that. And really, I'm going to get a Nyx pack out of it. It's not worth a Nyx pack. And then Spanish Moon. This one I know threw a couple of people off. And I was disappointed with Horse from this. Now, a couple of you did warn me, actually, after I did the test server one. You guys said it wasn't going to be age 30, it was going to be much higher. Now, if I think back to previous Wandering Horse promos, initially it was 30 years old. Then I remember having a Wandering Horse promo where you had to get them to 40. So this time it's gone to 50, which means a lot more resources, whether that's agent points or black orchids, to keep them alive that long. That's what I basically have to say about that. I'm disgusted about that. Now, I managed to get one of my just immortal filler horses to 50, but I realised I don't have any more to do that. Also, if you're wondering where to go, how to remove the passive wings underneath a horse, you need to actually go to the horse's page, like the actual horse, and then you can do those actions. I don't want to do it with that horse, but it's just to show you. So, if you haven't seen the test server video that I did in this, go and have a look at it. Basically, what I showed you in the test server video will still work for this, but because you're going to have to get it 50 if the horse isn't immortal, then you're definitely going to need black orchids to get it to that age. If it is immortal, it's just going to cost you a lot of agent points, and it's going to be quite tiresome. So I don't think I'm going to do this one. I know I've done part of it, but that's about it. I don't really think I'm going to bother with it. But that is where I am at the minute with it. Ideally, I'd just like to get at least 7 of these, so I'm entered into the draw to potentially win the Divine. Other than that, I'm not particularly worried about this. But anyway, guys, thank you to Chloe Mills and all to StarDust Stables for requesting the video. I hope you had a lovely day.